Hearing room. You know, I'll make sure I can get that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and call it, and we'll wait for him before we really get started. But it's,
I just want to make sure I'll be able to hear it tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I'm
after 9, he should be in the room.
Oh, yeah, we're unmuted, so you're ready to go.
Before I officially call our hearing to order, I just want to check in with my court reporter. Tracy, I see that you're logged in. Are you ready to get started?
Good morning, Judge. I'm ready.
And again, before I officially call the hearing, I just want to let everybody know that for our court reporter to hear you, you have to have your microphone on and speak clearly into your microphone. It's just a simple tap on that microphone and a green light will light up. But also, if you don't want to be heard, turn that microphone off. Right, now calling proceeding number 23A-0078CP. We're here for a hearing on the application of Purple Mountain Tour Company, LLC, for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate as a common carrier by motor vehicle for hire. We were scheduled for this hearing by decision numbers R23-0605-I and R23-0306-I. My name is Melody Mirbaba, and I am the administrative law judge who was assigned to hear this case. Excuse me. Why don't we go ahead, before I take entries of appearances, I also just want to let everybody know we are webcasting this proceeding. That includes the video and the audio, and we will continue to webcast this hearing during recesses, so please do keep that in mind. Also, you have to have your microphone on in order for the court reporter to pick up anything that you are saying. All you have to do is press the button that says push, and a green light will light up on the microphone. All right, so let's get started with entries of appearance. Now I want to start off with Purple Mountain.
Good morning, Your Honor. Aaron Atkinson on behalf of, I did the first thing. Good morning, Your Honor. Aaron Atkinson on behalf of Purple Mountain Tour Company.
Okay, you might just want to pull it the microphone a little bit closer. Tracy, were you able to hear that?
Once he was speaking into it, yes, I could.
Okay. All right, and for our final intervener, Green Jeep Tour LLC.
Good morning, if it please your honor, my name is Richard J. Barrow, that's B as in boy, ARA, registration number 7886-7828 Vance Drive, Suite 105, Arvada, Colorado, 80003. Appearing here on behalf of the intervener by right, Green Jeep Tours LLC.
All right, thank you. I see that we have a handful of exhibits that have been identified as confidential. I'm going to need the parties, if you plan on displaying such exhibits, the confidential versions, to signal that so that we will have to stop the webcast during that period of time. Otherwise, the webcast will continue and your confidential information will be disclosed. Before we get started to the evidentiary portion of the hearing, I want to just see if there's anything we need to address preliminarily, such as have there been any stipulations as to the admission of exhibits?
No stipulations and nothing from Purple Mountain Tour Company at this
Okay.
time.
Thank you. And for Green Jeep, is there anything we need to address before we get started?
Yes, Your Honor, we have a couple of matters, procedural matters that I'd like to discuss with you. First of all, and this is, I know you've ruled on these, and this is purely to perfect our appeal rights. And that is, we'd like to renew the motion to dismiss for defective notice. I know you've ruled on it, but like I said, I'm just doing that for the record, so we preserve our appeal rights.
I'm definitely denying it, and I'm telling you, I don't think you have any grounds for the motion.
Well, Your Honor, you changed the address yourself in the restrictive amendment.
I merely spelled out the word county. It was always county.
Well, we don't know that. It could have also been Colorado. You know, Colorado 7, Colorado 391, that's Kipling Street.
Mr. Barber, we do know that. It's in the record.
Okay, and the other matter is I would like to request that my other clients, Ski Town Transportation, be allowed to participate in the proceeding
Denied. I've already ruled on that.
under 40-6-108.
I have already ruled they are not a party and they are not participating in this proceeding.
Okay, thank you. We'll reserve it for appeal. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Atkinson, are you ready to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor, I am. The applicant calls Mr. Zach Bug.
And this is one of our in-person witnesses. Okay, this is the witness stand here just to my left. Make sure you get that microphone turned on. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give in this proceeding will be the truth?
I do.
All right, put your hand down. I'd like you to state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Zachary Bugg, ZACHARYBUGG.
All right, witness is yours, Mr. Atkinson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Bug. Could you please describe for us a little bit of your background and the nature of the tourism industry?
Previously, I worked for Green Jeep Tours. I worked for them last summer doing a large amount of tours for them throughout the summer. And then this summer, starting our own business here at Purple Mountain, doing tours for them.
Do you have any expertise to speak of in regards to driving, commercial driving, that sort of thing?
Previously, I have about 10 plus years experience driving commercial trucks. Most recently, roll-off construction dumpsters, straight truck work, and then previously before that, buses, working for paratransit companies, driving handicap accessible buses.
Thank you. You mentioned that you used to work for Green Jeep Tours. Could you describe a little bit the nature of your employment at Green Jeep Tours?
I was a tour guide there from approximately last May of 2022 until approximately the beginning of November 2022, giving tours there 5 to 6 days a week, giving a large amount of tours, showing customers around Rocky Mountain National Park, driving vehicles, inspecting vehicles there, giving tours for customers, trying to care for customers.
To get in a little bit to the tours that you did for Green Jeep as we move into discussing Purple Mountain Tour, describe for me what the tour at Green Jeep Tours looks like.
Their tour, to start with, maybe their tour vehicle is their newer vehicles anyway, are Gladiator Jeep pickup trucks that have been modified by local fabricators with a vinyl bench seat. They have lap belt seat belts that, to my knowledge, are not even safety rated. They're
Objection, calls for speculation.
Your Honor, Mr. Bug has testified that he has foundation and his experience in with both a commercial driver's license as well as operating tours for Green Jeep Tours.
He has not been qualified as an expert in seatbelts.
Overruled.
Please go ahead.
This is not expert testimony. I'm not being here in that way.
So to my knowledge, I don't believe them to be professional seatbelts. In fact, I was showed a link of an Amazon link for go-kart seatbelts that are those exact seatbelts. But they're on a fabricated bench, all passengers sitting together sideways on the vehicle, 8 passengers in the bed of a pickup truck. They do have some supplementary springs on them. They have a factory GVWR. I believe they're not reweighted for weight. And then the passengers are taken around Rocky Mountain National Park on that. They have a fabricated roll bar as well on them. Those tend to be problems because the passengers will hit their heads on those bars as they enter next to the vehicles. And then they do a tour around Rocky Mountain National Park. There's only 3 main roads in the park. So they take a pretty main loop that is very popular with many people doing a short 2 to 3, 4 hour jaunt through the park. And bring their customers back after about a 3-hour tour.
How many tours with Green Jeep Tours would you generally do per day?
2, sometimes 3.
What type of training did you receive at Green Jeep Tours to perform the sightseeing tours?
My training was a ride along with another tour guide. I believe I did 2 ride alongs with tour guides, listening to their tours, and then I was told to kind of do my own research and give them the keys to the vehicle to start taking tours.
When did you stop working at Green Jeep Tours?
Approximately the first week of November 2022, I believe.
And just to be clear, did you stop work on your own accord, or were there other circumstances?
I stopped working on my own accord. The season was relatively over for tourism. Not that many tourists. We were going out of town for the week, so we stopped at that time.
What I would like to do is to show you an exhibit that's been pre-marked as hearing exhibit 103. If we could have that put on the screen, that would be great. Mr. Bug, I'm showing you what's been pre-marked as hearing exhibit 103. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
If you ever get to a point where you cannot see it, I can have it zoomed or I can show you a paper copy, okay?
Okay.
Describe for me what exhibit 103 is.
It appears to be our application for our permit.
And this is the application, when you say our permit, you
It's
mean,
for Purple Mountain Tour Company.
is that your company?
Yes, it is.
Is Purple Mountain Tour Company organized as a limited liability company?
Yes, it is.
Who are the owners?
Myself and Brooklyn Carswell. We're 50-50 partners in
Are there managers of the LLC?
it. Just the both of us, yes.
And when did you organize Purple Mountain Tour Company LLC?
I don't know the specific date, but I believe February of 2023 is its official organization date.
I'm sorry to jump around, but since I asked you, why don't we go ahead and do that? I'd like to show you what's been pre-marked as hearing exhibit 101. Mr. Bug, I'm showing you hearing exhibit 101. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
What are we looking at here?
It looks like the articles of incorporation for a company, I believe.
And is this for Purple Mountain?
For Purple Mountain Tours, yes.
And did you yourself organize Purple Mountain Tour Company with the website of the Secretary of State?
I did it through LegalZoom.
Your Honor, at this time, we'd like to move for the admission of hearing exhibit 101 into evidence.
No objection.
Hearing exhibit 101 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd now like to show you, Mr. Bug, what's been pre-marked as hearing exhibit 102. Thank you very much. Mr. Bug, can you see what's been pre-marked as exhibit 102?
Yes.
Can you describe what it is?
It is the Secretary of State's Certificate of Good Standing for Purple Mountain Tours.
And does this indicate or refresh your memory as to when you organized Purple Mountain Tour Company?
Yes, it looks like February 3rd, 2023.
And just to be crystal clear, that was well after you had ceased work at Green Jeep Tour.
Correct.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move for the admission of exhibit 102 into evidence.
No objection.
Hearing exhibit 102 is admitted into evidence.
Thank you. If we could go back to, please, exhibit 103 now. Again, Mr. Bug, this is the application that you mentioned a moment ago. What I'd like to do is to go to page 7 of 9 of the exhibit, please. Mr. Bug, I'm going to ask you to look at the section towards the bottom of this particular page. There we go. Is that your name and signature at the bottom?
Yes, it is.
And were you the one who executed this application?
Yes.
Were you the one who filed it with the Colorado Public Utilities Commission?
Yes, I am.
And what was the date on which you did so?
The date signed here is February 13th, 2023.
And does that ring true with your recollection?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move for the admission of exhibit 103 into evidence.
No objection.
Hearing exhibit 103 is admitted into evidence.
Thank you. If we could go back, please, to the first page. Mr. Bug, I'm referencing the addresses. Can you describe for us the addresses at which Purple Mountain Tour Company operates?
Currently, we have a storefront in Estes Park, but at the time of this application, we had not acquired a storefront. So this was our principal building address at that time. 1151 Eagle Drive, number 126 in Loveland, Colorado, 80537. Our current storefront address, though, is 165 Virginia Drive, number 2, Estes Park, Colorado, 80517. That was established after this application.
Understood. And again, you were the individual who filled out this form personally?
Correct.
If we could please go to page 2 of this exhibit. Mr. Buck, towards the bottom there is a section entitled the designated agent. Is that you who acts as the agent?
Yes.
If we could go to page 3, please. Mr. Bug, I'm going to ask you to talk to us a little bit about the geographic radius within which you asked for permission to operate. Describe for us why you chose this radius.
We asked for a radius of 136 miles from an address at 24401 County Road 390 in Granite, Colorado, 81228. The reason we asked for that radius is we have hopes to do some multi-day mountain tours for sightseeing, fall foliage, that sort of thing. And we wanted a large radius to encompass most of the Rockies in Colorado, as that is our most feasible sightseeing ventures in Colorado here.
Describe for the commission, if you would, what your idea was with respect to Purple Mountain Tours and its brand, what it would bring to the market.
We're trying to bring a higher quality, more luxury-based tour to Estes Park and to Colorado in general.
Can you be more specific about what the idea was with respect to a luxury tour?
Yes, we wanted higher quality luxury vehicles, safety being an utmost important to us as well. We wanted vehicles that are able to fully seal climate controlled settings. Our vehicles also have coffee bars, snack bars inside, fridges, things like that to keep customers at nice comfort level. Our goal is to really have them have the best experience. Customers many times coming on these tours, it's their only time into the Rockies or into, in the case of our current tours, into Rocky Mountain National Park. And so it's their only time they get to go to those places. We really want them to have all the comforts and conveniences as they can, including phone chargers, all those types of things, comfortable seats, all those types of things.
Thank you. With respect to your original application, which is Exhibit 103, you later restricted that. Could you describe for the commission the nature of that restriction?
We have a seasonal restriction on there to operate only from May 1st through October 31st. Our main goals of that is to be able to serve the public openly through those times. Generally through the winter in the mountains here, we are not nearly as busy with tourism. So as in order to figure out how we want to best serve the winter clients, we are able to use more limited carrier permits like an off-road charter or luxury limousine permit, both of which we currently possess. And we're able to take private parties out for smaller tours.
So you presently have an off-road charter permit?
Correct.
And a luxury permit as well?
Correct, a luxury limousine.
Was there ever a time pardon me, when Purple Mountain Tours operated any tours outside of the permitted use by the Public Utilities Commission?
We never operated any tours without having a permit from the Public Utilities Committee or Commission.
You mentioned a few things that I want to get into more detail on. One was the nature of the vehicles themselves, and those are referenced on page 4 of this particular application. Could you describe for the commission what your vision was with respect to the vehicles?
We wanted a high-end tour company here, high-end vehicles. As I said, safety and luxury being of utmost importance to us. Many times we're traveling to high altitude conditions, weather is rapidly changing there. We want to be able to easily and adequately seal our vehicles. I come out of a busing background, and those situations are required to have heat for those vehicles. And so we really want to be able to provide heat. We don't want customers getting up to the top of mountains, encountering snow, sleet, rain, anything like that in low temperatures, and not having heat or anything to fully seal and get them out of those weather conditions.
And you mentioned that the fleet that you presently have has a retractable glass roof.
Yeah,
Describe for it the retractability of the roof.
sure. We have a 2023 Mercedes Sprinter. It's a Kalish Panoramic, is the coach builder that makes it. It's a professionally fabricated vehicle, fully engineered.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you please say the name of the vehicle again?
It's Kalish, Calche, I believe. And they make a professional engineered manufactured coach. They're assembled in Elkhart, Indiana. It's a European company that produces them. And the retractable glass top on it is fully retractable glass. It fully seals up. It has a glass ceiling, glass walls with a rigid frame. It does, to my understanding, pass full European and US rollover safety federal standards.
We spoke a moment ago about your experience at Green Jeep. What makes you think in forming Purple Mountain Tours that this sort of retractability is a benefit or something that benefits the market?
In comparison to a Green Jeep's vehicle and some of the other open top providers up there as well in the Estes Park area, their tops are a canvas kind of homemade top or vinyl plastic top. It rolls over the vehicle. Both other open top companies in Estes Park utilize plexiglass windows on the sides. None of those seal up completely. To my knowledge, none of those vehicles have heat for the passenger compartments as well. And you also lose a lot of visibility. All three are big things, very important to us and to customers. Maintaining those views, as well as having safe and adequate conditions for comfort as far as weather, rapidly changing weather in the mountains.
You mentioned that this is important to customers. How do you know that?
As I worked for Green Jeep Tours, it was a constant struggle trying to keep customers happy if you get to the top and encounter weather. Specifically with the Green Jeep Tours tops, many times you actually have to unload your customers to put the tops on them. So you have customers standing out in rain, sleet, hail, whatever the elements may be, as they're rapidly changing at elevation. And those cold conditions, getting wet and cold, once you're able to close up those tops, you put them back on and all you're really able to offer them is a blanket. Especially with younger children or older folks, it's a real worry when you're up at those high elevations and those changing weathers. With our vehicles, we don't have to worry about that. We are able to quickly pull over, slide our top shut, and be completely sealed with heat or air conditioning, whatever we need to provide for our clients.
The second thing I heard you mention was something about the seats. And describe how the luxury seats operate in your current fleet in relationship to what you've seen in the market.
In comparison to my experience at Green Jeep Tours, those are homemade benches. Actually put them together in their office there, vinyl padded benches, all sitting in one row, sideways facing. Our seats are actual FMSCA and DOT certified seats with 3-point shoulder belts adequately and properly secured to the floor. Our vehicle passes such strict safety standards that generally on buses, you have a 3-point shoulder requirement. You would have 2 anchor points to the floor and 1 to the wall. And our vehicle passes enough safety standards, they are only required to even be bolted to the floor, 2 anchor points to the floor with those 3-point safety belts. But they have 3-point safety belts in fully certified reclining chairs as well.
This may be a silly question, but why so concerned with the seatbelt safety in these tours?
You're traveling up above 12,000 feet potentially during these tours on high mountain roads with good cliff edges and no guardrails. Certainly safety is an utmost importance for them. And is really our priority there for providing that safety and comfort for customers, as well as seatbelts are required by the Rocky Mountain National Park when operating in the park.
Do you have any permitting from Rocky Mountain National Park to operate within their confines?
Yes, we have a CUA permit for interpretive vehicle tours as well as hiking tours.
The next thing you discussed was climate control. What makes your vehicle so special as opposed to what else is in the market in terms of climate control?
We are able to offer a actual full-size bus heating and cooling unit that's in our cabin, our passenger compartment, passenger cabin. To my knowledge, none of the other companies up there, they're operating large scale, at least the open top providers have any type of climate control for their passenger compartments, other than blankets.
And some of the other things you mentioned involve refreshments, coffee, that kind of thing. Is that different from what you've seen out there?
Yeah, many of the other providers offer maybe a bottle of water, a beverage, maybe a snack at a halfway point. We offer open access to snacks and beverages, especially hydration is important at altitude. Altitude sickness, the best thing people can do is stay hydrated for that. And so that is of utmost importance. We keep a fully stocked fridge full of waters, sparkling waters, sodas, all those sort of things, as well as coffee, tea, hot chocolate on board, and open assortment of snacks for those customers' convenience and comfort. Especially we commonly have diabetic passengers, things like that. So we're able to carry juices on board in our fridge, candy bars, things like that for them to be easily accessible.
Describe for me, if you would, what the fleet presently looks like at Purple Mountain Tour Company.
We currently have one 2023 Mercedes Sprinter van and a 2023 Kia Telluride. Those are our two primary vehicles currently.
And both of those comport with the various accessories and things you just talked about, the refreshments, the retractable roofs, all that sort of thing.
Yes, the Sprinter van has the retractable roof and the refreshment center. That said, our Kia Telluride does have dual panoramic sunroofs, heated seats, of course, full climate control. It does have a fridge and coffee maker equipped in it as well with snacks.
Again, referencing page 4 of Exhibit 103, towards the bottom, there's a discussion about the vehicles. What is Purple Mountain Tour Company's maintenance schedule with respect to these vehicles to make sure they're up to snuff?
Both vehicles are brand new vehicles. They are both currently pre-scheduled for all the routine services that will come up through dealerships, through Fort Collins Kia and Loveland Mercedes.
And is that an important thing to operate a sightseeing tour company?
Certainly keeping vehicles up to date maintenance-wise is important for any vehicle fleet, especially sightseeing tours when many of the places we're going have no cell signal, things like that. We don't want to be stranded in those areas.
One of the requirements in regards to your operations of an off-road charter includes branding on these particular vehicles. Can you talk about what the branding looks like on these vehicles?
We have signage on all sides of our vehicles with our name, company's phone number, as well as our PUC permits numbers on our back hips of those vehicles as well.
Is it your understanding that's required by the Public Utilities Commission?
That is my understanding, yes.
And along the same lines, how many drivers does Purple Mountain Tour Company employ?
We currently just have myself as a driver.
And what is the business plan with respect to future drivers, how they will be vetted, that sort of thing?
Currently with our off-road charter permit, we're required to have fingerprints done, submitted through the PUC directly into them for background checks. In future, if we get our CPCN, we won't be required to have those fingerprints, is my understanding at that point, but we do still plan to have background checks as we are sending our customers into remote areas with no cell signal. So we certainly want them to feel comfortable and to be able to rest assured ourselves that they're safe and comfortable out there along with our drivers. We want professional folks, especially considering or especially emphasizing security and driving and their customer safety overall.
Where are the vehicles presently being housed when they're not out doing the off-road charter tours?
They're stored at our office at 165 Virginia Drive.
And that's pursuant to a lease with Purple Mountain Tour Company?
Correct.
And is a brick and mortar have somebody available to sort of operate the desk, an employee of sorts?
Yes, we have office staff. We have my partner Brooklyn Carswell is our main office staff, as we also have another office staff, Lisa Spitz.
One of the restrictive amendments that you talked about a moment ago, or the restrictions, was that you would only operate a portion of the year. Describe the intent behind that.
Estes Park in Colorado Rockies in general, with the exception of skiing and snowboarding destinations, but for sightseeing, the peak season is really going to be roughly May through October. Is those points, that's when we stop seeing snow and start seeing it again at the outsides of those seasons. We do still plan to be able to offer potentially some off-road charters, or luxury limousine type tours, or transportation with those as well in the off season. But our main goals is to be able to provide those tours through the summer as the main surge of patrons is coming through the state.
What leads you to believe that there is a need for, that there are patrons that want to be serviced by your company in these months?
Rocky Mountain National Park specifically has increased over the last dozen years its visitorship. Approximately a dozen or so years ago, was seeing under 3 million visitors every year. It now sees approximately somewhere between 4 and 4.5 million visitors every year. And just under 3/4, roughly 65 to 70% of those visitors to the park are coming through the Estes Park corridor, are coming from the Estes Park side of the park.
And what informs you regarding that, as well as the other players in the market in that particular area?
My time at other companies and Green Jeep Tours certainly showed me that there was a lacking of a higher quality tour experience, a more luxury-based experience. Customers not satisfied necessarily with the amenities that were given to them, provided for them. Safety also being a concern to many passengers. As I know that there was many times with passengers at Green Jeep Tours where passengers were apprehensive, to say the least, of getting onto those vehicles.
Do you feel as though there are tour companies in that area who are turning customers away because they're booked?
I think that is certainly the case.
Objection calls for speculation.
Your Honor, the witness has already established he has the foundation to testify based on his personal experience in the area.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Do you have the sense that there are tour companies who are turning patrons away because they're fully booked?
Objection to general speculation.
Same response, Your Honor.
Yeah, I've already ruled on it, overruled.
I think that is the case, certainly in the peak months of July, beginning of August, and potentially even the end of June. On those peak times, many of those tour companies are filling up their tours at least at certain peak times of those days, especially morning tours, things like that.
If we could go to page 5, please, of Exhibit 103. Mr. Bug, this is the page that addresses the financial feasibility. Tell me how, does Purple Mountain Tour Company have its own operating bank account?
Yes, it does.
And tell me how the business is funded.
We have guaranteed or secured 2 different loans totaling $500,000. One we have acquired this year. The other one is guaranteed for next season as well. But we have acquired both of those. We are not personally guaranteeing those. They're just assigned to the company or guaranteed by the company.
Are those loans performing presently?
Yes,
They're not delinquent?
correct.
What are the expenses that you've seen at Purple Mountain Tour Company, and explain how you're able to cover those based upon your current operations?
Our main expenses are our physical assets of our vehicles, as well as insurance tends to be our largest expenses that we foresee and have on our books here. And we were able to secure all those payments just based off of our loan value alone. Then as overall revenue comes in, we are able to easily take care of all those expenses as well.
And the vehicles are fully insured?
Yes,
Okay, and the business is also insured?
correct.
And who is the carrier providing those insurance coverages?
Our general business liabilities is through Next Insurance, Byberg Financial or Byberg Insurance Agency is who our auto insurances are through. And we carry $1.5 million single incident liability on our vehicles, as required by the park, by Rocky Mountain National Park.
If we could all look at section 14, if you would, please, of exhibit 103. This section describes your background, and you mentioned that you have some experience in education and business administration. Could you describe that briefly?
Yes, when I was 18, 19, 20, I did go to community college for business administration. I also at that time worked as an assistant manager of a Papa John's Pizza for those years as well, giving me some entry management experience there, managing crews, schedules, finances, things like that. And then I worked for a paratransit company, Heartland Senior Center, for several years, driving paratransit buses for them, having acquired a CDL to do that, a commercial driver's license with a passenger endorsement. I then worked for a state agency, the Heart of Iowa Regional Transit Authority, doing similar work with those same types of paratransit vehicles, buses roughly 20 to 30 foot in length. And then more recently, I have worked in straight track operations, commercial driving, doing different commercial driving, some flatbed work for a portable restroom company, S&B Portable, out here located in Denver. And then more recently, roll-off construction dumpsters, previously working for two companies.
Thank you very much. If we could go please to page 9 of this exhibit. Mr. Bug, this is one of the restrictions that you have added to this particular application. Could you describe it for us?
Yeah, it states that no services will originate or terminate within the county lines of Denver, Jefferson, Adams, or Arapahoe counties. And additionally, no service will originate or terminate from within the city limits of Boulder.
There was an restrictive amendment that was recently entered by Purple Mountain Tour Company. Could you briefly describe that for us?
That was limiting us to only our sightseeing tour CPCN permit, removing our shuttle request for that.
And is that in line with Purple Mountain Tour Company's brand and business plan?
Yes, I mean, our main goals is to provide quality sightseeing tours all across the state for our clients.
If I could please go to exhibit 104. Mr. Bug, I'm showing you what's been pre-marked as exhibit 104. Do you recognize that?
Yes, it appears to be our off-road charter permit.
And that's for Purple Mountain Tour Company?
Correct.
And you've seen this document before?
Yes.
Your Honor, we would move for the admission of exhibit 104 into evidence.
No objection.
Hearing exhibit 104 is admitted into evidence.
Mr. Bug, we spoke a moment ago about you having organized Purple Mountain Tour Company after ceasing work at Green Jeep Tours. I want to ask you a little bit about that transition. When you left Green Jeep Tours, did you take anything with you?
No.
Did you take any customer lists?
No.
Did you take any financial information?
No.
Was there anything about Green Jeep Tours that you brought with you to a Purple Mountain Tour Company as far as the business plan?
No.
If we could take a look at exhibit 105, please. Mr. Bug, I'm showing you what's been pre-marked as exhibit 105. Take a minute to look at that and let me know when you're ready to discuss
I'm ready.
it. You've seen this before?
Yes.
What is it?
It is our commercial use authorization permits for the Rocky Mountain National Park. The current one is the guided hiking, and I believe if it scroll down, you would see the interpretive vehicle tour as well.
Thank you very much. Is that your signature at the bottom?
Yes, it is.
And did you fill this form out
Yes, I did.
on April 1st, 2023?
Yes, sir.
And it's currently active
Correct.
and it's not delinquent or there's no discipline out there?
No.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move for the admission of exhibit 104 into evidence. I'm sorry, this is 105, pardon me.
Any objection?
No objection.
Hearing exhibit 105 is admitted into evidence.
If we could go to page 2 of exhibit 105, please. Thank you. Mr. Bug, I'm showing you page 2 of this exhibit. Could you describe for us what this is?
This is the interpretive and interactive vehicle tour permit for the Rocky Mountain National Park.
And can you briefly describe the differences between what the first page allows you to do as well as the second?
Yeah, the first page is for hiking tours. It's something we have not currently implemented, but plan to implement, giving ground-based hiking tours in which the customers would meet us into the park, not to actually be transported into the park. The interpretive interactive vehicle tours permit allows us to do sightseeing tours entering the park as long as we start and end outside of the park. And that allows us to operate vehicles that are inside the park's bounds.
Thank you very much. I'd like to show you what's been pre-marked as Exhibit 106. Mr. Bug, this is Exhibit 106. Have you seen this before?
Yes,
Could you describe what it is?
this is our luxury limousine permit, Purple Mountain Tours luxury limousine permit.
And this is currently in effect,
Yes,
and there's no discipline or delinquency associated with it?
no,
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move for the admission of Exhibit 106 into evidence.
No objection.
Hearing exhibit 106 is admitted into evidence. All right, let's just take a second here. We've gone through 6 exhibits and I have no problem with you asking your witness questions about your exhibits, but thus far there hasn't been an objection. We might be able to save a little bit of time if you both can just take a quick look at the exhibits to come and let me know if you want to stipulate to their admissibility. You can still ask your witness about questions about it, but we might just save a little bit of time here.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Mr. Barr, take a look and let us know if there are exhibits on that list that you do not object to.
Well, it's gonna take a while because there's, are we talking about just the boilerplate, or are we talking about the letters of support?
Whichever ones you don't object to. If you want to hold off on the letters of support, I'm not going to push on that at all. But I think we still have a number of exhibits that are not the letters of support. So these have been pre-filed for a while, so this should not be your first time looking at them.
I don't have any exhibit, objection to exhibit number 107. The rest, I think we need to go through.
Okay, Mr. Atkinson, do you move for the admission of hearing exhibit 107?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, hearing exhibit 107 is admitted, and if we need to go through the rest, then we will do that. You may continue when you are ready, Mr. Atkinson.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bug, I think we were on Exhibit 106, which has been admitted into evidence. And this was the luxury limousine permit we discussed a moment ago.
Hold on a second. I don't have that as having been admitted into evidence.
Oh, I apologize.
It might have just been that we didn't get quite that far and might have stopped you in the process. Is there an objection to the admission of hearing exhibit 106?
No, Your Honor, there isn't.
All right, hearing exhibit 106 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Mr. Bug, this luxury limousine permit is not delinquent and there's no discipline.
correct.
Now I'd like to look at Exhibit 107. And Your Honor, I understand from opposing counsel, there's no objection to the admission of this exhibit.
That has been admitted.
Perfect. Mr. Bug, this is the Colorado Motor Vehicle ID stamps.
Correct.
And describe for us the nature of this letter and what it means.
Those stamps are to register the vehicles, mostly to ensure that vehicles have been properly safety vetted, things like that for the commission.
And the vehicles are duly tagged and whatnot with respect to Colorado Department of Motor Vehicles and that sort of thing.
Yes, to the best of my knowledge, there is.
I'd like to show you what's been pre-marked as Exhibit 108. Mr. Bud, this is hearing Exhibit 108. Do you recognize this?
Yes, it's an inventory list of our vehicles.
These are the vehicles of Purple Mountain Tour Company
Correct,
and their VIN numbers.
correct.
And you prepared this inventory?
I did.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move for the admission of Exhibit 108 into evidence.
No objection.
Hearing exhibit 108 is admitted into evidence.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to offer a confidential exhibit and ask Mr. Bug about it. And that would be 109.
All right.
It's gonna take me a couple minutes, especially with YouTube, so.
All right, so let's just hold on until Casey gives us the signal that we are off the webcast. In the meanwhile, I don't think that I let everybody know that we will take a recess at around 10:30 just to give our court reporter a break. She may not be here in person, but she is working really hard to get everything down. And then we'll most likely take another recess in the afternoon around 3, and of course, we'll take a lunch recess.
Yeah, but I haven't before, and I thought it was a stop button like it used to be with regular webcasts, and I don't see it. I can try it, and if I can't get it back on, I might have to quick send an email to Michelle to like schedule a second one. Or actually, I can probably schedule a second one if I really have to. So I'll try it and hopefully it'll still work. If it doesn't, I just won't have a longer delay to reschedule.
Okay.